Hi everybody and welcome back to the Upside Dan. Here is my spoiler-free review of MCU's newest film, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Shang-Chi, the master of unarmed weaponry-based kung fu, is forced to confront his past after being drawn into the Ten Rings organization. This film is directed by Destin Cretton, written by Dave Callaham, Andrew Lanham, and Destin Cretton. It stars Simu Liu, Awkwafina, Tony Leung, Meng'er Zhang, and Michelle Yeoh. So I got to see this movie in 4DX, so definitely stick around because I'll be talking about the experience and if it's worth it for you guys to go see it in 4DX. I will preface that by saying, see this in theaters, please. If you are comfortable, if you can, go see this movie in theaters. I think that it definitely begs to be seen on the big screen. And aside from that, not only that, but I saw the new No Way Home trailer and the new Eternals trailer on the big screen, and I just cannot wait for those. So I think that we gotta show Disney that we want to see those. And yes, I know if it gets worse, we have to, for our own safety, shut down or whatever. But I think that if you're comfortable going to the theater, go see Shang-Chi in the theater. I thought Destin Cretton did an amazing job directing this film. He really helmed this movie to a T, I thought. There were some amazing visuals. And I don't even mean CGI, but locations, sets, the green screen, the CGI. I think that he did a great job directing these actors into portraying these characters, these comic book characters. I thought that he, really excelled in this area. I have not seen Short Term 12 yet, but I do plan on it. He also did Just Mercy, which I did like. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of what he has in store. The writing here is also really good. I thought that the characters and the story were, written and executed on screen, really well. There was some good family drama in there. There was some great character moments, whether it be comedic, dramatic, or action-packed. This movie definitely had its MCU-isms, but at the same time, I think that it was, a little different. It felt different. It felt, like I said, it felt like an MCU film, but it also felt fresh-ish. There was definitely some MCU character and story beats in there, but for the most part, I thought this felt like a really fresh origin film that I thought was, just executed very well all around the board. I thought across the board, the acting was pretty fantastic, to be honest. Simu Liu is a welcome new addition to this expanding universe. This universe has so many actors and so many characters in it, and it's ever expanding, obviously. And I think that he, honestly, eventually could come on top as one of the greatest in the MCU, especially the action bits. I think that he did the action absolutely extraordinary. Some of the emotional beats, I think that he wasn't bad, don't get me wrong. He's a pretty good actor. I think that he definitely can grow on, though. Some of the more dramatic stuff in this movie that I think, he got better, and I think he'll get better. He's good, do not get me wrong. I don't think he's a bad actor by any means, but I think that the action is especially where he shines. I love Awkwafina. I know maybe some people think she's annoying. I love her. I think she's hilarious. In this movie, she's very funny. When she needs to be, she's heartfelt. You definitely feel this relationship between her and Shang-Chi. They're best friends, and they've been best friends for a decade, I believe, and I think that you definitely feel that in here. They have a great chemistry together, and I love their friendship. Tony Leung is fantastic here. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know him from much, but I know that he is a big actor, and a lot of people are a fan of him, and I think that for what he was given, he was really good here. I will get to some of him in my very minor negatives, but I really thought that he was a good villain. Michelle Yeoh was also fantastic, of course, even though we see even less of her. But I understand this is, this has a lot of characters that it needs to juggle. It's an origin story for Shang-Chi, and I think that they hit that out of the park. I absolutely really liked seeing this origin of this character that I really haven't heard of before this. I personally thought the effects were good. Whether the special effects, the CGI, the practical effects, I don't know. I thought they were pretty well done, and we'll get to some of that in my very minor negatives again. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought there was a lot of beautiful scenery, a lot of beautiful sets. beautiful backdrops for the action scenes, very beautiful designs for certain CGI creatures, powers, people, you know. Yeah, I definitely think that this is worth it on the big screen. The comedy here, the comedy here I think was top-notch MCU. There was a bit or two where the audience was roaring, and I can't get into it because the appearance of this character that actually gave the really, really funny line that we all laughed hysterically at. It might be a spoiler, I'm not sure if it was confirmed that this person was in this movie. I will talk about this person more in a spoiler review, but this person, for me, was a welcome addition for the most part. But when this person comes on the screen, this person was in this movie basically for the rest of it, and more than I ever expected, to be honest. But this person was a really funny addition. Now, of course, the comedy's great. What about the drama? The drama is good as well. I really enjoyed the backstory of these characters and their family dynamic. I thought that the family dynamic, you know, there was family drama. I think that was a lot of, you know, it's the center of this film in a lot of ways. It's the reason all this stuff is happening because of Tony Leung's character. You know, he's the father that maybe his kids don't necessarily always believe in or agree with, but that adds a lot of good levity to the situation and to what's going on in the movie. So I definitely enjoyed that. I think that they did a really good job with the family drama here. Okay, now I gotta get to the action. Ooh, the action was spectacular, and honestly some of the best action I've seen in the MCU. I really liked this hand-to-hand combat. The kung fu was absolutely superbly done. There wasn't much shaky cam, you know, close-ups. There was a lot of, you know, practical hand-to-hand combat, which I definitely appreciated. Now, as the film went on, there was some more CGI added to the hand-to-hand combat, you know, and then just CGI stuff, and we'll get to that in a minute. But overall, I thought that the combat was really done well. The fight scenes were really good, and they were really interesting, intriguing, and yeah, I just thought the action was so good. Now, another positive about this movie and about movies that are about different cultures, you know, anyway, I loved seeing the culture here. What I've seen, like, from movies, and that's another reason I love movies so much, is you get to see different cultures, different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different religions, different sexual orientations, different genders. You get to see all of this culminate into a film, and I think that they did a really good job here with the culture. It was really interesting seeing the lore and the culture kind of combine to make what this movie is. I loved it, and I love the representation. I absolutely am 100% for representation of any kind, all kind, because it's important. Like, it's really important to see basically yourself on the screen, and I think that they did a good job in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Okay, so I'm going to get to my 40X in a minute, but I do want to tell you there are two credit scenes. One that's a mid-credit scene, which was really, really good. It's going to move the story along going forward, but it has a funny bit. And then there's a last, you know, post-end credit scene, literally after all the credits, that I thought was good. I didn't think it was like anything amazing, but it'll be interesting to see where that goes. So definitely stay tuned. Like always in Marvel films, stay tuned for the credits. Okay, so the 40X experience. Okay, I'm just going to tell you all right off the bat. Yes, this is worth it in 40X. I recommend going see in 40X. If you're comfortable, if you don't have motion sickness or any of that. Because like I said in my 40X video, which you definitely should check that out if you want to know more about 40X and you know what happens during it, but I'm going to go through a lot of it here. The seats move. You're on a platform of 4 seats, and the seats move along with the film. There could be the camera shots, like if it's looking up, the seat will tilt back a little bit. You know, if it's going around, if you're in a car, it's shaking a little, train, plane, the same thing. Like when I went to see Snake Eyes, I liked Snake Eyes enough. This was a far superior film. But anyway, when I went to see Snake Eyes, there was a plane scene, and it just felt, not exactly like you on a plane, but it was really well done. Here, there's a lot of water stuff, especially in the third act. It's like it's raining on you almost. Not really, but this is definitely the most water stuff I've seen in any of my 40X experiences. The seats move along with the action, you know, like I said, the car chases, the bus chases, anything. And when, you know, it moves along with the fight, with the action on the screen. If there's water, like I said, it shoots at you. There's mist coming all around you, stuff coming from the ceiling, wind. when there's, when something's flying usually, or if wind is coming at the characters, there'll be wind on this, blowing at you. There's like blast of air coming at you from all cylinders, pretty much. There's stuff at your ankles. There's like a massager kind of in the chair that if someone hits their back or something, you'll feel a bump. It's a really cool experience, and I think Shang-Chi was almost made for it. I think any Marvel movie is really going to be really cool, or action movie really, in this format. But I even if not 40X, I do recommend seeing this in theaters. Like I said, if you're comfortable, please go see this in theaters. It needs the support. It needs the love. We need to show Hollywood that we love the representation, and we need to show Hollywood that we want more movies, that we want movies to continue to be able to come out as long as it's safe. Please go see this in theaters. It could be any format. I think this is going to be amazing in 3D. I'm not a huge 3D person, but I think that this could be really cool in 3D. IMAX, RPX, just standard showing. I think that this is a movie that really begs to be seen on the big screen, because it is a spectacle to be seen. So now let's get on to the negatives. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I had to scratch my brain to think of negatives. And these are very minor, and I'm gonna say that probably every time. Leading into the third act, I thought there was a little pacing issue. And yes, I said issue, like one. For me, at least, it just seemed a little weird, a little fast. It just went right into it. And, which was fine, and again, it's a minor issue. I had to scratch my brain to think of it. All of these I had to scratch my brain for. But I felt it a little bit. Okay, the CGI, let me get to the CGI. It's good. I thought it was good during the third act. I thought that there was a lot going on. A lot of CGI. Just blasting all around the screen. And it's not too hard to follow, but at times it is. And it's a minute or two for me. At least it didn't take me out of it. Like I said, it's a minor issue, but there was a lot going on, and I could see some people having a lot more of a problem with that. Especially after you had a movie that was a lot of hand-to-hand practical combat, and then you get into this big CGI fight fest at the end. But no, I loved it. I loved the ending. I did like the CGI. There was some iffy CGI, but I'm really bad at noticing bad CGI, to be honest. And my last negative, like I said about Tony Leung, he plays Wenwu, the villain, and I thought that he was really good. He's a really good actor. He was a really good villain, especially by the MCU standards. But I do wish that his arc in this movie ended, a little better. I feel like the end of his arc for this film kind of ended, a little abruptly, a little rushed, and honestly, it was kind of unsatisfactory for the most part, but it didn't take me out. Like, I kind of almost was like, okay, that was fine though. And it's a minor issue. Again, all these are minor issues, because I love Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Love, love, love. I loved this movie. I had such a blast. Thought the writing and the directing, the acting, the comedy, the drama, the action, it was all great for me. I absolutely loved this theater experience, this movie experience, this MCU experience. I don't know if this is a hot take, but to me, that believe the hype stuff that was going on with the Suicide Squad, this you should believe the hype for. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, you should believe the hype for, even over the Suicide Squad. I liked the Suicide Squad a lot, but I love this movie. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is amazing. I think that this is my favorite origin MCU film, in one of my favorite solo outings from the studio. Heck, one of my favorite MCU films in general. I absolutely love this movie. It's a great Phase 4 entry. It blows Black Widow out of the water for me, and I liked that movie more than what I've seen a lot of people think about it, but this blows it out of the water, literally. I loved Shang-Chi in The Legend of the Ten Rings. Go see it in theaters, any format, please, if you're comfortable. It's just one of my favorite MCU projects overall. What would I give Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings? Let's see. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings gets a 10 out of 10 from me. Yes, that's a 10 out of 10 for the newest MCU entry, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. What did you think of Shang-Chi? Did you love it? Are you excited for more of him in this universe? Do you think Simu Liu is playing, or is going to be, maybe one of the greatest in the universe? Please let me know your thoughts, your spoiler-free thoughts, please. Or if you're gonna spoil it, put a little label, just a warning, please. I will most likely have a spoiler review out, whether that's a collab with some of my friends on YouTube or not, I don't know yet. but please check it out. Please comment down below. Blow up that comment section. If you've liked what you've seen here, you're going to like something else. So please click around here to see some more. Please like this video, comment on this video, share this video with the MCU fans in your life. Hit that notification bell, subscribe, and come to the upside, Dan.